Hey everybody, welcome to Nest TV. We are on set on location for the cover shoot of our fall mag. Beside me is a farmhouse table we made specifically for the cover. So if you guys want to make a table like this for your own home, watch and learn.
Alright, first things first, you're going to head to your local hardware store and get your supplies from the supply list below the video in the description.
Next things up, get that Nest Realty tape measure ready, and we're going to cut up our apron. You will need two longer pieces at 90 inches apiece, both with 45-degree cuts on either end. And then you'll cut 36-inch pieces, also with 45-degree cuts on those ends. Those four pieces will make a big rectangle, and that will be your apron. Pre-drill and toss a couple screws in each corner, making sure it's all square. I use 3-inch decking screws, and they're quite strong. Next up, you will need a 33-inch piece of 2x4 with two straight cuts, and that will go in the very middle of the apron and keep everything nice and square and strong. Alright, let's cut up our legs. You will cut 28¼ inch legs off of your 4x4s. You will need 4 of those. Next up, we need to route out or cut out a section for the 2x4 spreaders that will be between each set of legs. Measure 6 inches from the bottom, and then use a 2x4 to measure exactly how thick and wide it's going to need to be. Cut it all out using a circular saw or a saw of your choice, making sure the depth matches a 2x4. Alright, so now that you have it all cut up, let's clean it up with a hammer and chisel and make sure it's nice and flat and flush so it can accept a 2x4. Alright, let's cut our 2x4 spreaders, and those will both be cut at 33 inches. Put 2 screws in each of those. You can use glue if you want, but 2 screws per leg should be ample for strength and support. Alright, flip those legs in place, and we're going to put this thing together upside down. Pre-drill and screw in 2 screws per side, mounting the apron to the legs. Always make sure things are square, because when you do turn this thing over, you want to make sure everything is touching the ground and nothing is out of whack. Let's cut the center leg spreader. This will keep both sets of legs at a perfect distance apart and make a nice strong base. Your center spreader will be 80 inches long. Flip your table over, and let's get our 2x10s and 2x8s set up and ready to mount. You can use a hand planer if you want to get rid of the rounded edges to make sure your tabletop looks nice and tight and that there's no gaps between your wood. Do this on each side, or wherever it's a little bit curved where the wood might not be touching. Next up, we are going to hard mount these straight to the table base. Pre-drill and screw these into either end of the apron and the center apron support. Next up, we're going to cut off just the ends of either side of the width of the table. They were just a little bit too wide, and this is where you can use 2 2x8s instead of 2x10s. Next up, hand plane the entire table to give it a nice texture. After you're done with that, sand the entire surface using 80 grit, 100 grit, all the way up to 220 grit if you so desire. Let's fill in those screw holes with some wood filler, let it sit dry, and then let's sand when it's ready. right, mix up some stain. The color we chose was Early American by Minwax. We applied that with a rag, the entire surface, making sure it was clean before and it was applied everywhere we wanted it. Here we decided to do a whitewash. This is Minwax whitewash. It's just a very light white coating that just soaks into the wood and makes it look sort of old. The whitewash wasn't perfect, so I used a can of white spray paint to fill in any spots that needed it. Next up, I used a little bit of black spray paint just to spray in any gaps between the wood and give it a little bit more character. Finally, when everything's said and done, it's time to put some polyurethane on top to protect the wood. I put 3 coats of water-based polyurethane and sanded lightly in between coats. Make sure the polyurethane doesn't puddle and that it's a nice thin coat. And voila, you have a beautiful farmhouse table ready to serve your favorite meals and your favorite guests. This farmhouse table will really make your home feel cozy, and you'll be pumped to have all your family around it. Thanks for watching, and be sure to tune in for more DIY videos and a lot more from Nest Realty. Thanks for watching.